Hey, you're listening to No Limits, episode 94, PlayStation podcast, and Lego Horizon. Yay! Hello, everyone. You're listening to No Limits, a PlayStation podcast, episode 94. My name is Taylor, and I'm joined by my co-hosts, Sam and Brianna. Remember, you can find the video version of this podcast over on youtube.com/SaveTheGameMedia every Tuesday. While you're over there, make sure to subscribe to the channel. If you'd rather listen to audio, we are on all your favorite podcast services, and we would love it if you could leave us a review. It helps us grow, and we would love any feedback. If you want to support us and get early access to all Save the Game Media content, head over to patreon.com/SaveTheGameMedia and choose the tier that's right for you. Just like our current patrons did: Fabulous Brianna, Brianna's mom, Brianna's brother, Lindsay, Nikolai Knight, Cypher Primus, Brendan Myers, Marcus O'Neill, Lillian, Mimi J, David Hotright, Dave Harp, the Xbox Expansion Pass, Alpaca Tom, Lee Navarro, and Silcanet. Also, interact with us in the Discord. Links are all in the show notes. How are we doing, Krusty Crew?
Aye, aye, Captain. I can't. Hey, no.
Answer the question.
No SpongeBob.
No, I don't. Sponge Bill. You know, I do enjoy Sponge Bill. This is not the Sponge Bill Square Bob podcast. So
okay, sorry, sir. I'm good. I've been very busy over the past few days because I'm trying to, but specifically because I'm trying to wrap up a project I'm working on before I go away on holiday tomorrow. So,
whoa, where are you going? Where are you going for holiday? You going on vacation with the fam?
I am indeed.
Are you staying in the country?
Yes, yeah. Going down to. I said this to Bree, and I assumed this was a bit more widely known than clearly it is. But I'm going down. I'm going down to Cornwall, which is a lovely coastal seaside region in the southwest. We've gone many times throughout my life, and we're only going for 5 days, so Monday to Friday.
Only 5 days. That's a nice vacation to me.
Yeah, well, yeah. I guess typically we're slightly more used to at least a full 7 days somewhere. But we're trying to fit it into scheduling and stuff for people. So I think it's just nice to get away for a few days. I'm excited. It's going to be nice to have a bit of R&R properly away from everything.
Yes.
So
you can.
I will say, I do still have to take my laptop with me and do some stuff for IGN, but it's only it's very, very minor incremental stuff every morning. It takes me 45 minutes total each morning. So I didn't want to break the cadence of this particular thing that I'm doing, which it would have done if I had decided to stop. So I'm good. I'm looking forward to it.
The photos of this place look really nice, but yeah, I've never heard of it.
Yeah.
Is there a castle?
I can't say I've ever been to one down there, but I'm almost certain that doesn't negate the fact that there probably is a castle down there somewhere. There are lots of castles in the UK.
I can't imagine living just places where there's a bunch of castles.
Yeah, there's a castle 3 minutes away from where I live.
That's crazy.
A big one.
I don't live anywhere near a castle. I do live near the Winchester Mystery House, though, which, let me tell you, that place is weird.
If I knew what that was, I'd probably have a bigger reaction.
So
Winchester Mystery House.
Yeah, so the Winchester Mystery House. So I'm sure you've heard of Winchester guns, or like maybe just heard
Yes.
of it in passing.
Yeah, I played
So
Bioshock. I know about it.
yeah, so the Winchester guns are like these really old guns that were used, I believe, in World War One. And the guy who made those, his wife, like when he passed away, was just like so rich from all of the guns and such that she like just started spending the money in the house.
Mm.
Kept building the house and building the house out because she kept saying that like the spirits were chasing her from all of the people that the guns killed, and like just kept building this house, but like not in a I'm just adding on sections of the house, in like a there's staircases to nowhere, there's doorways that open on the second floor straight to the ground, like there's like like stairs that are like really small, there's stairs that are really big, there's like a bunch of weird things in that house. It's very bizarre. You can Google it if you want to see some images of it, but yeah, it's an interesting place to go.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's the closest thing I got to a castle near me, but definitely not the same.
Yeah.
I was just trying to relate to how posh you are.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Sorry. Some audio started playing, and I was like, yeah.
Okay.
I want to visit the cliffs of Dover.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I want to also want
Never
to,
heard of that.
besides visit Sam, visit the cliffs of Dover. Is there anything else there? Nope.
Wait, you haven't heard of the cliffs of Dover?
No.
What?
Hold on, Googling. Oh, I've seen these in
My name's Bree,
the
and I want
TV
to
show.
move to the UK, and I don't know what the cliffs of Dover are.
It's like she was in the room.
It's like saying you want to visit the US and you don't know what the Statue of Liberty is. All right.
I mean, I've seen the Statue of Liberty from a very far distance, and I live in America, so
It's not that impressive.
No. It's not.
Yep.
I mean,
How
the
you
thing
doing?
is like, listen, I want to move there not for like these cliffs.
Yeah, you
I
do.
want to move there because there's a bunch of countries nearby that you can like visit, and a bunch of places nearby that you can go to.
I mean, but don't forget, of course, that has gotten exponentially harder over the past few years because of good old Brexit. How well that's gone.
Mm-hmm. Yep, there's a bunch of weird visa stuff.
Yeah. How are you, Taylor?
Me?
Yeah, you.
Who? Me?
You.
Doing all right. You know how it is. Little quarter life crisis. It's all good.
Hey, that's what we like to hear.
Like, is the path I'm on the path I want to be on? If it's not, what pivots do I need to make for change?
Absolutely.
So
yeah.
Other than that, and massive self-confidence issues, I've been playing Control.
Yeah.
Still, I'm now in containment. And I did a side mission yesterday that had a lot of clocks in it.
Aha.
That was a good one.
Yes.
That was a good one. And right now I'm trying to find my man Dill. You know who it is. You know how it is. Oh, I guess that's a spoiler. No, it's not. It's the plot of the game. We're trying to find Dill.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jesse's brother Dylan. So I've also unlocked the perk that lets me throw enemies at low health, which is good. So yeah, making my way through that, and Control continues to be a good game.
Yeah.
So I'll eventually finish it and the DLC.
Hooray.
Hooray. Yeah, Pierce is my new favorite grip.
It's a very strong one.
It is. I like the boom.
Who doesn't like the boom? Boom, boom.
What are you doing? Yeah.
All about the boom.
What's your favorite grip in the game? Or your favorite Bree?
I literally don't remember mine, but anything that has to do with a shotgun is usually my favorite.
So you'll like Pierce as well. Good. And Shatter, probably.
I can't remember anymore, to be honest. But yeah, probably.
The Control's the only thing you've been playing.
Yeah. Yep.
That's okay.
Nope.
No.
It's not okay.
Oh.
I will be playing Animal Well next month. So there's that.
Yes.
Have you beaten Animal Well, Sam?
Well, that's an excellent segue, Taylor, into what I've been playing. Because, yes, I have been playing Animal Well. I have beaten Animal Well, and I have platinumed Animal Well.
Wow.
It is currently sitting at my Game of the Year.
Oh, what a low honor. Okay.
Again, well, I think it's unfair to say because last year was just so many bangers that came out one after the other. So I think I said this game is currently my Game of the Year probably 3 or 4 times last year, and I meant it. But I genuinely don't see anything that's lined up for the rest of this year that we do or maybe don't or kind of maybe do know about that could beat how special Animal Well is. I've talked about it enough. I've sold you on it. I think Taylor certainly. Bree was, I think, going to check it out regardless. I cannot recommend it highly enough. I'm sad that I'm never going to be able to play it for the first time again. That's the kind of Outer Wilds, Obra Dinn catch 22 of the whole situation. That I kind of know how everything works now, so the discovery is something I'm never going to feel again. But nevertheless, I loved it. I've been playing more of Helldivers 2, obviously. That is an inevitability at this point.
Oh, yeah, I've heard we started the second galactic war in the game, or we're about to.
Yeah, I mean, there's tons of not major orders, but the messages that they send out that give you the overarching. I can't even remember what they're called. That you get on the main galaxy map, and they've been quite vague. They've just been talking about bringing in new recruits, and that everything up to this point has kind of been like a training routine, essentially, and that the real galactic war is about to kick off. I would assume that probably is aligning with the release of whatever this next new enemy type is going to be, like faction, besides the automatons and the terminids. I think there's going to be there's a third one that we know about. I'm expecting that's what they're alluding to, and maybe that at a showcase we get not a shadow drop necessarily. Actually, no, that probably would make sense. Very Helldivers-esque to have a section in the showcase that's here's the new enemy faction. They are attacking the galaxy map as we speak. Go spread democracy. I think that is something that, now that I've spoken about it, I think could easily happen. Still loving it. It's probably number 2, I think, currently for me. I don't think there's anything else I've been playing. No. I did lie though, because I did say that my eBay haul was over, and that wasn't just an abject lie. I have stopped. I said that last time, but I have stopped. Because the only other thing that I picked up was Life is Strange: True Colors, because the game means a lot to me. I really liked it, and like always, I'm a physical masochist. So That's my weekly update.
I've been on mute the whole time. Nice.
You have?
I was gonna say I've still never played Life is Strange past like 2 hours of the first game, I think.
Yeah, like I get it. They are an acquired taste, and it is very easy to bounce off of them if you don't just stick with it. But I will say, objectively, True Colors is the best Life is Strange game.
All right. I will say, there's one thing I want to shout out. I'm not really a football guy, but EA College Football 25 is releasing in 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
It's been the first one since 2014.
Yes.
I'm kind of might jump the bandwagon on it. My alma mater, who will remain unnamed, big football school. And I want to make them good again in the game. They haven't been an elite team for some time. So maybe I can make my own team, an NBA 2K. Do you guys want to know what I named my team in NBA 2K?
I feel you're going to tell us anyway.
It's okay. It's in Brooklyn. No, it's not that, Toph. It's the Brooklyn Beep Beeps. I named my team the Brooklyn Beep Beeps in like 2017.
Of course.
I mean, as good as any other name, to be fair.
It's better than the New Orleans Pelicans. What a horrible name. God. Or Arsenal. Or whatever the other teams are called that play soccer in the UK. The Liverpools,
Yeah.
The Livers, is that what they call them?
Nope.
The Chelseas.
Got it right first time. That it's not plural, but
anyway, yeah, that's where I've been. Not playing a ton of games. That's been a theme for me this year. I just haven't been playing a ton of games, at least as these months got into the warmer months in the Northern Hemisphere. So yeah, maybe I'll play Starfield next month on the PS5. Who knows? So, Gears, whatever's announced for PlayStation, that's an Xbox game.
Indeed.
Yep. But anyway, wait, Bree, did we say what you were playing?
No.
Bree, what were you playing?
I was playing Animal Well.
Hell yeah. Yeah. How is it?
I'm just confused at this point. That's not to say it's good or bad. I just am purely confused. I haven't played enough to even really parse anything that's going on. I unlocked the map and that's about it.
Oh wow. So you're 10
I'm
minutes?
very early. No, I played I think 30 minutes.
Okay.
But I did not play a lot.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, Animal Well is obviously sort of famously at this point not a hand-holdy game in the slightest. And because of how open it is, you can go any direction, you don't have to unlock things in a certain order. It is just have an explore and you'll find things and you'll keep finding things and then you'll hit a wall and you turn back and you go the opposite direction. So don't panic about feeling lost, because that's by design.
Yeah, I figured. And then I was like, I played a lot of games recently. I better get back to that reading thing.
Oh, yes. As if you haven't been reading tons of books as well.
I've only read 62 books this year. That's not that many.
Rookie numbers.
I know. That's why I'm trying to get back to reading. Guys, I'm gearing up to read a big fan fiction, a huge one.
Oh God, what's the universe?
Harry Potter, duh. Amateur.
Where do you find these, Bree? Is there a Harry Potter fanfic website?
No, there's not.
You're asking dangerous questions.
Is it Tumblr?
It's just AO3.
What's AO? I don't know what that is. AO3.
Sam apparently doesn't want me to talk any further.
Archive of Our Own?
Yes.
Huh.
Anyways, I'm getting ready to read one, and this one is a AU, and it starts after like just the first little bit of the third movie. So in preparation for this one, I'm actually watching the first and second movie, and then I'm going to watch part of the third, and then I'll read this. So yeah, that's gonna. I'm reading a book series called The Extraordinaries right now, which is incredible. It's about like superheroes. Which is definitely not my normal cup of tea, but it's by TJ Klune, which is one of my favorite authors right now. So once I'm finished with that series, that's what I'll be reading. I have to look this up for you guys because I think this is interesting. Okay, so depending on the version of the Bible has around 780,000 words. This fan fiction is at 750,000 words.
How many pages would that be on a normal book?
I don't know. It's really hard to tell because I just have my phone and my iPad. But a normal book is around 125,000 words.
So War and Peace is 200,000 less than that. I thought that was like the long book of all time.
I don't think that book's very big.
I thought it was huge. Yeah, it's one of the longest novels ever published. What are you talking about? It's light work for Bree.
Yeah, kind of is.
Jeez. Toph, what do you think? Say something. Nice.
So yeah, I'm excited about this one because I believe it runs from the third year through the seventh year, but rewritten. It'll be a good time.
Sweet. All right. Well, without further ado, let's get right into Okay.
I feel like I'm being judged by Sam.
No.
I'm being judged. Taylor, I need you to intermediate.
Okay. I'll intermediate by talking about the PlayStation Plus catalog update for May 2024. Coming to PS Plus Extra and Premium, we have Red Dead Redemption 2, Deceive Inc., The Sims 4 Living City DLC, my favorite Sims 4 DLC, of course, Crime Boss, Rockay City, The Settlers, New Allies, Stranded, Alien Dawn, Cat Quest 2, Lego Movie 2 video game, Watch Dogs 1, and then for PS Plus Premium, 2 Extreme, G Police, and Worms Pinball. You know, this is the best premium month I think I've ever seen. It's so bad. Oh well. It's Red Dead Redemption 2 is carrying on this list. Let me just say that.
I mean, it's not because Red Dead Redemption 2 is a bad game, but you know.
Oh wow, you're one of those people.
I am, yes. Unfortunately, so.
I haven't played the game past few hours because I'm Taylor, but I thought it was considered good.
Yeah, I think the debate is typically Red Dead Redemption 2 is obviously like visually very impressive and very immersive, but I think people clash over how far they took the immersive elements and whether that actively kind of detracts from the fun of the game. Like having to individually root through every single drawer of a cabinet and then manually pick up each item individually, and massive long animations for looting corpses for ammo and stuff. It's like, it's all cool and it's very immersive. And if you want like the perfect cowboy simulator, that's what this is. But I just think the first Red Dead Redemption is by almost every metric outside of visuals a better experience, but I know I'm mostly in the minority there, so but I agree with you, Taylor. Pretty terrible month overall. Like, big fan of a Lego game. I'll always take it. I mean, I've already played this one, that's fine. Cat Quest games, both of those are good, just done fun. And then, regardless of my thoughts of Red Dead, getting it as a title from Rockstar for Sony is a big deal. And probably further indicative of the fact that GTA 6 is going to be marketed the hell out of by PlayStation specifically. But yeah, it's weird. And this is, I know it's not part of the story, but alongside this, did you guys see that they are taking out like tons of games from the catalog?
Yeah, I thought I included that. I did not. Let's see. Let's do a real time. PS Plus games leaving. It's a ton, and they're good games too, unfortunately. So from TrueTrophies.com, according to, over the next 2 months, this is actually an article for May 7th, but all these games are leaving May 21st. Abzu, Horizon Zero Dawn. Actually, that's interesting. Horizon Zero Dawn is leaving PS Plus Extra. They gave away the complete edition for the Play From Home initiative during COVID. I know, because that's how I got the game permanently. But I wonder if they're doing this in prep for the rumored remake. Darksiders, Darksiders 2, Darksiders 3, Darksiders Genesis, Wreckfest. I'm just going through some highlights here. Kingdoms of Amalur Re-Reckoning, The Artful Escape, Last Stop, Absolver, My Friend Pedro, The Messenger, Jotun Valhalla, Sundered Eldritch Edition, World of Final Fantasy, Final Fantasy 15, Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 7 Remastered, or I guess, sorry, the Final Fantasy 7 port from PS1, Final Fantasy 9 Remaster, Final Fantasy 10 HD Remaster, Final Fantasy 10-2 Remaster, Final Fantasy 12 Tunic, and EA Sports FC 24. We're all leaving over the next 2 months with all the games up until, besides Ghost Runner 2, Tunic, and EA Sports FC 24. All the games I talked about previously to that are leaving Tuesday, May 21st from PS Plus Extra. So that's a massive exodus, unfortunately. So I'm interested to see how they fill that void.
Yeah.
If they do come summertime.
Well, you would hope that they are aligning this to be alongside some kind of announcement of any kind at the showcase, right? The exodus of content, but they are supplementing it with something else, like maybe another couple of big day one things from indie or AA. And there is a confirmed thing that there's a Star Wars Clone Wars PS2 game that has been data mined that's coming into, I think it's on the PlayStation Store currently, but is then being routed into PlayStation Plus whenever it officially comes out. So there's speculation as well that like proper PS2 emulation is coming, and therefore we'll see a lot more PS2 titles. Probably, I mean, yeah, it's going to be inherently locked to the premium tier. But I'd say if there's a deficit in quality in any degree of PlayStation Plus, it's in the premium tier. So that would make sense that they'd want to bolster that. But yeah, sucks to see so many games going. I completely forgot. You said Tunic was one of them, right?
Yes, it was just added.
But Tunic leaves on June 4th from PS Plus Ascent.
Yeah, like it was just added like this month or last month.
That's weird. It says it's leaving PS Plus Essential on June 4th. Oh, that's just the PS Plus Essential leaving, yeah, because it's a game this month. So yeah, ignore that.
It was a monthly game this month.
It was a monthly game.
So if you download that, you got that in perpetuity, but from the catalog, it's being removed. Only reason I point that out shows how fried my brain is. I also played and finished Tunic this week.
What'd you think?
I mean, I platinumed it.
All right, you hate it, Sam. Just say it. Jesus.
I understand more of what it was going for now, and I can appreciate it more, but I still can't say in good faith that it clicked with me. But I did enjoy it more than I was expecting based off prior experience. But it certainly isn't as lauded to me as a lot of people have suggested, Bree included, which is unfortunate, but that's how it goes sometimes.
I think you're crazy. That's okay. Now, I think like I don't want to spoil it for things, but how did you feel about the guidebook after the game? Because I really like that's what kind of like pushed the game over for me. I was just so thrilled at the way that they used it.
Yeah. Like I say, I get it more now. Like I said, I think when I tried it a couple of months ago, I was just sort of floundering and only had a few of the pages and nothing really made sense. And I was just aimlessly wandering around. But then I sort of hit a point where things started to click in my head, and the progress through the game just sort of snowballed from there. Yeah, like I think that the inherently the guidebook thing is a novel way of doing things. I still don't know that it like wowed me particularly in any incredible sense. And like to be fair, I do think that I am going to be Tunic is going to be at a disadvantage because I'm coming so hot off of Anorwell, which doesn't do super similar things, but does similar things in terms of exploration and sort of deduction and discovery and peeling back layers of the game and hidden things in plain sight and all of that. So I think that it's at a disadvantage there, but again, that's sort of just how it goes. But I appreciate it, and I did enjoy it more than I thought I would. So
I didn't realize my PS Plus subscription expired April 30th because I'm trying to time it with Days of Play. But I wanted to redeem Tunic to my library. So if the Days of Play sale for PS Plus occurs after the May monthly games leave PS Plus for June, might have to get another $10 subscription.
Yeah.
I just want to grab it.
Yeah, because they'll expire early June, won't they? It's not
first
May,
Tuesday.
So,
Tuesday of June. Yeah.
So hopefully that will coincide. But if not, you might just have to bite the bullet. Yeah.
Or I could just wait and get it one day on sale if I'm really interested.
That too.
Maybe I'll just do that. Anyway, so yeah, according to it's gone down to $15 before. It's not that bad of a wait. Anyway, you have some pretty big news about leadership.
That we do.
Who wants to talk about it? Toph, do you want to talk about it? Toph, say something.
Meow. Okay, buckle up, ladies and gents.
I'll buckle up for you, buddy.
You're damn right.
Whoa, locked door behind us. Okay.
You said it, not me. We have new CEOs for PlayStation. Herman Hulst is replacing Jim Ryan as the head of PlayStation. I'm reading from an enclosed statement from Sony Interactive Entertainment. Quote, Sony Group Corporation and SIE, Sony Interactive Entertainment, the company behind PlayStation, announced the new leadership structure of SIE. Effective June 1st, 2024, Hideaki Nishino will be appointed CEO of SIE's new Platform Business Group, and Herman Hulst will be appointed CEO of SIE's new Studio Business Group. Hiroki Totoki, who has been serving as interim CEO of SIE, will serve as chairman of SIE in addition to his role as president, COO, and CFO of Sony Group Corporation. Nishino and Hulst will report to Totoki and intend to collaborate closely to strengthen each core business while maximizing synergies at SIE, end quote. Nishino is currently SVP, Platform Experience Group, and leads the team responsible for developing the experiences and technology within PlayStation products and services. Hulst is currently serving as SVP and head of PlayStation Studios, and is responsible for developing content across many devices, including PlayStation consoles and PCs, and bringing video game IP to new mediums such as film and television through PlayStation Productions. The PlayStation Productions team is working on several game adaptations and developed the Emmy Award-winning TV show The Last of Us, an adaptation of the the award-winning game that we all know and love. In his new role as CEO of the Studio Business Group, Holst will be responsible for the development, publishing, and business operations of SIE's first-party content. Quote, I am thrilled to lead the Studio Business Group and continue to build on our success with PlayStation 5 while preparing for the future, end quote, coming from Herman Holst. He continued, quote, the video game industry is one of the largest entertainment industries in the world and has been built on the marriage of content and technology. And I look forward to continuing to push the boundaries of play and entertainment, end quote. Again, this all coming from an SIE article. You can find on SIE's website. We have two princes on the throne.
Nishino's young? Her else isn't that young.
I mean, no, I just meant they're not really kings, are they? Because it's Hiroki, really.
Dude, Hiroko Totoki has the most C-suite positions under one person I think I've seen in my life.
It's a lot. That's a lot of letters.
Yeah. I wonder if they sleep. I mean, I've watched Succession. I know how it is at the C-suite level, you know?
I know, yeah.
Do you think they also like do coke in a London marriage ceremony and then drive a car into the water and walk away and not say anything happened until you find out that they go to the family a few months later to say sorry and pay them a lot of money?
Spoilers for Succession, but
did I just? Yeah, I guess that is spoiled for Succession.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Shuhei Yoshida did all of that last month. So,
talk what?
Not that Shuhei Yoshida is a C-suite in and of himself, not on the level of Totoki anyway, but still, it's funnier if you imagine Shuhei doing those things. So, what are we thinking? Do we think this is good, bad, something in between? What?
I think Holst as a position to lead PlayStation Studios looks like a good step. You know, he co-founded Guerrilla. I was reading yesterday, and that studio's done remarkably well over the past 20 years, and it's evolved. You know, between Killzone and Horizon, it could have been a point of closure, but it didn't. It wasn't.
Yeah.
So I think he knows how to run. He knows the internals of how these businesses work. Of how these studios work, and when it comes to C-suite leadership, I always prefer to be someone who comes from the inside of these studios. That sounded weird. You get it. Okay. Nishino, I don't really know much about Nishino.
No.
So I can't comment much there, but for first party content, you know, Holst is your guy. And I feel like it was a logical step, and he's will be way less tone deaf than Jim Ryan.
Bree?
I actually really think that this is an interesting decision. I'm kind of glad that they did it like this rather than just doing like a one-for-one replacement. I think this is more of like a time will tell thing, but I do think that it's an interesting decision, and I'm excited to see where this goes. So
yeah, I'm relatively positive on this, mainly because Jim Ryan, I mean, we'll probably never know the true full intricacies of why he left, but one of the reasons he gave was that he was in a number of words spread a bit too thin, you know, and having to dart around the world all the time. And I think that dividing and conquering, which this does show that PlayStation is even more pivotal to Sony than it ever has been.
Sorry, Sam, 1 second. I apparently have to leave now. I forgot I had to leave now. I thought I was leaving 15 minutes from now, but
you do what you got to do, Tyler. It's okay.
I have to jet. Cool leadership shake up. Yay showcase. Cool Lego. All right.
bye.
See you guys later.
Bye.
He didn't end it. I'm so proud of him.
Yeah, well done. Where was I? Yeah, it shows that PlayStation is becoming increasingly more important to Sony in a strange twist of fate, in a similar way to how Xbox is becoming increasingly important to Microsoft, right? It's just that I think the the Eye of Sauron, as a lot of people have been saying, is a little less intense on PlayStation because PlayStation is currently profitable, you know, and doing well and optically in the positive side of things. Not to say Xbox isn't profitable, obviously, but they're just struggling as a ecosystem more so than PlayStation. I think the thing that I like the most about this, though, is, like Taylor said, Holst comes from not only co-founding but also leading a studio for several years. He then went up to head of PlayStation Studios, just overseeing the first-party content, and he's now He essentially has the same job, but he is just extending now to the multimedia stuff as well, which I think is a smart move to let Holst essentially oversee just the creative side in totality.
Yeah.
Will likely lead, I would assume, to more what's the word? Cohesive transmedia stuff, whether it's TV shows or films or whatever. I think that having the same person oversee that, rather than, because I think it's Asad Kizilbash is the head of PlayStation Productions currently, and he's done a good job for the most part. But I think that him reporting to Holst is a smart call. But the key thing that I don't think I've seen many people say, even though it seems kind of like overtly obvious, which is maybe why they aren't discussing it too much. This lets them have a Western head and a Japanese head. And I think that for PlayStation specifically, that is critically important, because Jim Ryan, as much as people say, you know, like Taylor said, that he was tone deaf and he's not a gamer and he's far more on the marketing and the financial side of things, which is not great for us in terms of the communication, but there is no denying that Jim Ryan was a successful CEO. Like the success that he drove PlayStation to is evident. But I think that, you know, whether it was solely him or not, the blame of the live service push rests at Jim Ryan's feet ultimately.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of that, or at least a decent chunk of it, was because he was more Western minded and clued into the trends of the Western gaming industry, which is the live service and et cetera, et cetera. Everybody chasing the trend kind of thing, which I'm not saying that isn't present in Japan as well, because there's gacha and there's free to play and all of that over there. I know that, but it is, I think, a Western trend. It certainly started in the West. So keeping somebody on the platform side that is focused on the ecosystem and the technology and the brand identity devoid of the content software side, I think that's important, maintaining the lineage and the focus, I think, and then having Holst letting the people in not a fully separate sector, but being, this is the creative teams, you can take the risks here whilst not necessarily threatening the bedrock over here. I think that's really smart. I'm with you that it is, like, obviously, as with anything, really, at the end of the day, a wait and see. But I'm far more confident that this is set up for success than a sole CEO would have been. Personally.
Yeah, I think that they are definitely, I think that they have paved the way for PlayStation to be successful moving forward. But like, in practicality, we know things that can go, like, we know things can go wrong. So it's hard to say, but I do think that this is, like, everything that you were saying is, yes, like, this is a great decision, and the way that they even split it is really smart, and I think that this will work really well.
Yeah.
So
it's like, I've heard the argument as well that, like, too many cooks kind of thing. And not to, like, dunk on them, but, like, Xbox is a prime example of that currently, where they have just and I guess that's more the fact that they have so much to manage, more so that everybody is spread thin over there. But I don't understand the delineation between what Sarah Bond does and what Phil Spencer does. And therefore, Matt Booty is kind of overseeing all of the teams, and that is very clearly too much for one person to handle. So I think that this strategy for PlayStation, in my opinion, will work so long as they kind of, for the most part, stay the course and don't expand rapidly and all of that, which indications are that they aren't going to do that. You would have thought if they were doing like a publisher scale move, they probably would have done that already. So if they're just naturally growing out as they have done, buying a few teams here and there over the years, I think that this is going to work. The only real threat to that is massive, like effective, immediately deviations from what they've been doing thus far, which I don't think they're going to do.
What's so interesting is that there's probably stuff that Jim Ryan put in motion that we won't ever know that was like him putting in motion. And
For
so
sure,
I wonder if it'll be like, oh, like these new CEOs are making terrible decisions, but it was like Jim Ryan's decision from a year ago.
Yeah, and not only that, but I think as well, there's a high likelihood that there are a number of things that Jim Ryan enacted, not, the live service push being one of them, but almost certainly not the only one, that we will never see, because Totoki, or now these two CEOs, once they come into effect, will course correct, for want of a better word. And the last thing I'd say is I do also understand the concern, or not concern, but the point that some people have made when I've talked about this with them, where they say, yes, Herman logically makes sense because, again, he comes from within, he comes from a studio background, therefore he should have better understanding of how to work with them, how to communicate with them, pipelines, etc. But there is logic to the fact that, kind of like Jim Ryan being relatively, in comparison, short-lived in his position, many of the games from first party that Herman Holst will have been personally responsible for, we haven't seen yet either. Most of the stuff that has come out first party over the last couple of years from PlayStation would have been in development, even if it was early, as Herman became head of PlayStation Studios. So he still has to prove stuff, as does Nishino, as does anybody in this business. Obviously, you always have to prove your worth. But I think the future is looking bright. I said to you, I think, that I thought Eric Lempel was going to be a choice for CEO. I thought that he was sort of primed for it. But I certainly wouldn't have called this move from PlayStation, but I think retroactively, it seems on the surface at least to be a smart one. So we'll see.
We shall. Okay, let's move on here. Oh man, do you want to talk about this one? I mean, I know it's not your turn, but
yeah, I can take it. Why not?
I know how much you love it.
Of course. So Lego and PlayStation are supposedly collaborating on a new Horizon Lego game called Lego Horizon Adventures. So last week, time of recording, trademark finder, leaker kind of person on Twitter, Kurikasis, tweeted out that Sony and Lego were soon to announce a collaboration on a well-known IP. At the time, Kurikasis kind of revealed the game, but as what seems to be obligatory from insiders these days, but I think actually it was Tom Henderson at Insider Gaming, and then Kurikasis tweeted out that it was, quote, on the horizon, which is... So Tom Henderson then, which this information is coming from, Insider Gaming, spoke to sources, and it was said that the game is essentially, quote, Horizon Forbidden West, but Lego, end quote, and that the game will have, quote, realistic graphics, end quote, whatever that means for a Lego game. While the exact details of the game are unclear, Tom Henderson did wind of an advertisement trailer for the game being completed as of last month, which suggests that an announcement is on its way, although admittedly, as with anything, could be delayed. Though combining this information with Kirikakis' latest tweet, who finds the majority of his information via trademark filings, it suggests that the trademark has recently been registered, backing up that an announcement could be coming soon. Exact details of when this announcement could be made are unclear, but recent rumors of a PlayStation showcase in the coming weeks align nicely with what is happening with this specific game. Bree,
Sam.
a Lego Horizon game.
I am not the most interested in this game. However, I am interested in the potential Lego sets that could come from this collaboration. So, I am very jealous of your tall neck. Not to say that you can't buy it. It is just barely next to the Tom Nook's wallpaper.
Sure.
And so I would like to get some New Horizon Lego sets, kind of like the tall neck, because I think that would be kind of cool. But we'll see. How do you feel about all this?
I am so conflicted. I mean, I will, if there is a Horizon Lego game, I will eat that up with a spoon. And similar to you,
and
of course,
platinum it.
Of course. And as testament by my tall neck, I would pick up any new Lego sets as well. I think there are some people that have said, why is Horizon the one to get the Lego game? But I think that arguably of all of the first party IP that they have that's prolific and sort of worth doing a collaboration with, Horizon makes the most sense.
Last of Us Horizon or Last of Us Lego.
I'd be interested for sure. But open world, a lot of climbing and exploring and collecting resources, and then you have the robot dinosaurs, which very clearly can easily be replicated in Lego form.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think seeing those robot dinosaurs as Legos moving in the game will be very fun and interesting.
And not only that, but also being able to dynamically blow them apart and stuff, which is what you do in Horizon anyway, but would again clearly translate to Lego very well.
Yep.
So I like the idea. I will not be mad if I see it. But I will say, I do think we are not necessarily there yet, but I think we are potentially approaching a point of critical mass with Horizon where there is just too much. Because yes, we've only technically gotten 2 games so far and DLC, which isn't abnormal in the slightest. That you could say that about pretty much every first party IP alive right now under Sony. But we know that Horizon 3 is going to be a thing. We know that there is the MMO. We know that there is the multiplayer game that as of right now it hasn't been cancelled, that is in development at Guerrilla. We have the Netflix TV show.
Yep.
We now have this game. It's just pump the brakes a little bit. And people were making jokes like Herman Hulst has been CEO for 3 days. What the hell? That's not related to this. I'm sure Herman would have greenlit this, but it's not. The two things aren't correlated, and I don't think I could be wrong.
But it is funny.
It is funny, but I don't think that because Herman is CEO or SVP currently or whatever, that he is putting any particular special attention towards Horizon over any other current IP. And the reason I say that, although some would say it's pretty clear that you can make an argument that he is that even though it's not necessarily getting tons of buzz or like awards or anything. Horizon as a franchise is one of the best selling IP that PlayStation has. And it's doing so under the radar in comparison to a God of War or something, or a Spider-Man. But Horizon does very well for PlayStation. And I think that, as much as I kind of want, if all of the projects know about are to be real and to be released, I kind of want them to stop there. Put out all the stuff that we know about now, call it a day at that, let Guerrilla do something else.
Over a long period of time, because I can't have that much Horizon back to back. That's crazy.
Yeah, because
they're oversaturating Horizon.
Because we're so in the dark, we don't know what the timeline is. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw the multiplayer Horizon game at this showcase thing this month. Clearly not releasing this year because they said no installments. Actually, well, I guess technically, would a multiplayer game be able to skirt around that definition that they gave out about no major installment, no mainline installments in major existing IPs until April of next year? I think that was the nomenclature that they used. Would a multiplayer game skirt around that if it's not a mainline?
If they are not putting a lot of resources into it, then maybe, but it seems like they are. So I don't know if it could.
Yeah, I guess it depends on like how canon they want to treat it and stuff like that, I guess. I mean, you're getting into minutia there, but yeah, it'd be interesting to see how much they do sparse it out, because there was admittedly a big gap between Zero Dawn and Forbidden West, 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't feel like it, but it was 6 years. So it'd be interesting to see what they do. I guess more so than anything, it probably relies mostly, or they would like it to rely mostly, on whatever the timeline is for the Netflix show. Right? Like they'd want to have at least one of those products ready to go at the same time that the show releases for synergy.
Mm-hmm.
And a multiplayer game would make sense there because you can draw in a lot of people with that, hopefully. I forgot. Apparently, there's the Zero Dawn remake remaster as well. That's another one. So that is a lot of Horizon, and that's coming from somebody who loves Horizon, because I do.
Yeah, that sure is a lot of Horizon.
I never would have called this though.
I mean, I think it's like you said. I think it makes sense, if anything, and I really do hope this kind of leads to more, maybe not more games, but I would love to see more Lego collaborations with like PlayStation games in general. Mm-hmm. I think God of War would be another good one.
Yeah. So. Yeah, it'd be interesting. I think like something that I can't remember who said it online, but I saw a take saying that it might be a smart move to get a younger audience into Horizon as an IP. And that actually might work, because you throw Lego on anything, particularly as a game, and you're inherently going to draw a younger audience, primarily, or a large majority are going to be a younger audience. So as much as it is an oversaturation of Horizon, and it is a bit of a weird, out of nowhere, left field thing to come, I do think from a business side of things, it's actually maybe like a lucrative, smart call to do these kind of collaborations.
Yes, I do think that it is. I think this collaboration is a smart call. I just think there's too much other like too much other Horizon stuff.
Yeah.
On the horizon, wink.
Indeed. We'll see. Like, could this be a game that comes out this year? Maybe.
I'm assuming that for most of the Lego games, like they probably have like their own engine that they kind of build stuff out of. So depending on how long they've been working on this game, it could come out this year. It's like the only PlayStation game that comes out.
Yeah, I mean, they've filed trademarks. There is a marketing advertisement trailer ready to go. It seems close.
Yeah,
and I don't
like
think
holiday.
you need a massive marketing period for a Lego game necessarily.
No, definitely
you can
not.
just be like, there's a Lego game coming out. It's based on Horizon, and it comes out in 4 months. I think that is perfectly fine. So I'll be interested to see whether they, assuming this is correct, which it looks like it is, I wonder whether that is something that will supplement the latter half of this year, devoid of the bigger first party stuff.
Maybe.
Also, who's making it?
Lego.
Because I don't see it being Traveler's Tales like usually is. I don't see that happening. I could be wrong, but I'd be surprised if it was. But then, what does a Lego game that isn't coming from Traveler's Tales even look like? I'm not sure. This is a perplexing one, but I'm very intrigued.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Take us home.
Okay. Sony confirms they have a showcase later this month. There's only 11 days left in this month.
There is
12, something like that. So it can't be that much later. And another statement from SIE following the announcement of Nishino and Holst's new leadership positions, Hiroki Totoki made the following statement, quote, "Later this month, you will learn more about the long-term vision for Sony Group and the essential role SIE plays in that vision. As mentioned previously, FY24 marks the start of a mid-range plan period for Sony Group in which we will set the course for sustainable growth." That was a bunch of words.
Yes. I'm to point this out. This isn't like explicitly confirmation of a showcase, because he is specifically talking about Sony Group. Like, this presentation is a Sony thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that just a section of that presentation will be about PlayStation. But because this is happening to investors, and coming just off the heels of a financial report at the end of a quarter, all those things line up alongside obviously the rumors from all the Jeff Grubbs and people of the world that say that a showcase is happening this month. It makes sense that alongside this presentation they'd be like, and here's all of this first party content that we've just debuted and revealed. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's kind of a known quantity at this point. Again, to cover ourselves, things can change. The plan can be for something to happen this month and they shift out to June. I don't think it's any later than June. Obviously there's the Summer Games Fest and stuff, but if it shifts out of this month, they're not going to go as close as it would be early June to be swamped by Xbox and Summer Games Fest. So they'd be going towards the latter half of the month, you would expect.
Yeah, but I think they probably want to get ahead of it, so it does make sense for it to be in May.
Yeah. Last year's was in May. They wanted to get ahead of everybody, like you say, but obviously that didn't go too well last year. I can't see why they wouldn't want to do the same this year, and actually bring the stuff this year.
If they don't, I'm gonna be shocked.
Yeah, like there will be a problem if there was a problem last year when they didn't really bring it because they didn't have a showcase in 22. So we were like, we waited over a year, and this is what we got. It's like, but yeah, if they don't bring the hits, and I'm not necessarily expecting like every first party studio to show up and show something, but you need like at least 5 or 6 announcements of some kind, whether it's full-blown gameplay demo or whether it's just a title card or a cinematic trailer or something.
I think that they could even get away with like 2 or 3 if they have some big like third-party games as well. But we need more. Like,
yeah, I'd be okay with it, but I do think that they are really rubbing up against the wall in terms of like where the hell are these teams? You know, I think that they certainly can financially coast for another year if they really had to, but I think that we're already at the point of like, well, what the hell are these teams doing? They've been silent for so long, and I think that going another year of that is going to be real bad. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see. Not that it necessarily means anything, because again, this is a Sony presentation, but PlayStation is a part of it, and we know about PlayStation potential PC day and date-esque stuff going on. The title of the presentation is Beyond Boundaries. So you could infer from that if we're talking just about the PlayStation side, we will likely hear, assuming that they're coming off Helldivers and how successful that was on PC, if they're going to go PC day and date, I would probably expect to hear it at this presentation in some form. Maybe they don't outright say it, but in as many words, I would expect to hear that sentiment from them, more so than they already have, because Beyond Boundaries does indicate that they are, well, moving the boundaries. And if you're talking about boundaries in terms of PlayStation, that would mean beyond the console. So, yeah, that isn't going to mean games coming to Xbox, though. They just have no reason to do it.
No, they don't. They really don't.
Does that negate, obviously, stuff like Marathon from Bungie, multi-platform? It will be on Xbox, but other first-party stuff, you're not going to see it. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and I'll own up to it. I'll hold my hands up. I'll take whatever heat comes my way. But there is just no reason for them to do it.
Yeah.
Because they can. It is worth Sony eating the loss of some revenue by pausing a game to Xbox to maintain their market dominance. It is not the other way around for Xbox to PlayStation currently, hence why Xbox is doing it and PlayStation is not. So anything can change. The industry is in complete turmoil at the moment. We are in unprecedented times, but I still think that Sony, from all the things they've been saying, aren't diverting so drastically from their pre-existing strategy that something like that would come into place. But time will tell. Time will tell.
Yep, for sure. Okay, let's keep going, you guys. We don't have any listener questions. Do you want to touch on any of these limitless things? Or the post-show discussion things?
Whatever. If something catches your eye, we could do it. Why not?
Okay. What is your favorite track on the Ragnarok soundtrack? Let's do that one.
A Sun's Path. It's pretty
really
easy for me. Yeah.
Huh. Let me get the track list up here.
I mean, there's just so many bangers on it that you can't really go wrong with a choice.
Yeah.
But I think that if we're talking specifically about Ragnarok,
yeah,
that isn't something that is just a riff and a new motif spin on something from 2018. A Sun's Path is emblematic of, Atreus / Loki's ascension to becoming, a man of his own right. And I don't know. I think that track embodies Ragnarok more so than any other track, which is why I would default to answering it.
I do think it's a good answer. I think if I had to pick for me, God, I really love a lot of these. I love Blood Upon the Snow. I think that song is incredible. I do love A Sun's Path. I think that for me, if I had to pick, I think it would be Alfheim. The reason I say that is because I had a very interesting experience with this song. Let me make sure I'm thinking of the right one. Sorry, I'm playing it in my ears really quick.
Okay.
Yes, I am. Okay, yeah. So the reason why is because I went so when I was in Jordan in October, I went to this big desert. And kind of listening to the soundtrack over like just like watching this like desert landscape was kind of incredible. And so I think that kind of like pulled the song almost like into my real life, like in a way that the other tracks haven't been. So it was just like this really interesting like real world experience that kind of transcended the game for me. So
okay. Yeah. Like, you can't really go wrong, can you?
No, you really can't. For anybody that's curious, I went to Wadi Rum, which is where a lot of like movies are filmed, to be honest. So.
Like off the top of my head, I also think Ragnarok is a good one, which is the music that plays as the Battle of Ragnarok is happening, because it's heavy and ominous. That would be a good one, but I think if it's not A Sun's Path for me, I don't know if this is like a contentious or like weird answer, but I would go Rabe's Lament, because it's spoilers for God of War Ragnarok.
Skip 30 seconds if you need.
It's the music that plays over Brock's funeral, which is, Rabe is the one of the dwarf characters with the hurdy-gurdy instrument, which is
Bear McCreary.
Indeed, hence why Rabe is bear backwards. And I found it so funny when I clocked that, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, he looks like bear, and I was like, Rabe, why is that? Why does that look so strange? I was like, oh. But yeah, that music is, I think, in the same way that people say the last 10 minutes of a movie is the most important, because that is what gives you the feeling that you have as you leave the theater.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what sticks with you, more certainly in the immediate aftermath. Having Rabe's Lament and Brock's funeral be the last thing that happens in Ragnarok before the proper credits hit, I think that sits with me more, maybe. I think it's a beautiful track regardless, and obviously carries a lot of emotional weight. But yeah, I think A Sun's Path beats it out, because I don't know, it's so strange, because it's so different to the usual main theme of God of War. But I almost associate A Sun's Path with God of War more now in my head. It's become like synonymous with it.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily more so than the God of War 2018 theme, but it sits alongside it, and I just don't think that is something that I thought would ever be possible.
Yeah.
So just go listen to the Ragnarok soundtrack, guys.
Yeah, go listen to the soundtrack. Now, the other thing I was going to say is anything that uses like Faye's theme as like part of the song, I think is really good as well. Like Remembering Faye. I think there's a couple of other tracks in here that use the same like riff. I also just really like the first track, like just God of War Ragnarok. That one's really good too. but
yeah, because that's
the whole soundtrack is so good.
Because isn't that one essentially just the main theme, but the updated version for Ragnarok? Is that right?
I believe so. Yeah. It's just the
Yeah,
really
can't
heavy
go wrong.
men's voices, like manly
Yeah.
men singing and doing man things.
Indeed. Maybe the next God of War game is like a musical, and Kratos just breaks out into song.
Just the same way like the Last of Us musical.
Sure. Yeah.
I think we should do that. So.
And then Jormungandr is doing like a massive bass tone in the background, just
Yeah. We'll just get a didgeridoo out for no reason too, because why not?
Yeah. And like tangentially, we probably talked about this before, but like, what mythology do you think they're going to next?
I have such a hard time. Like, I understand that they're like, we're kind of done, but I just feel like this next game has to be like transitionary because like we didn't see him go somewhere else before. And I just feel like for them to jump without like saying something again would be so weird. If I had to pick, I mean, I think that Irish mythology would be interesting. I wouldn't be surprised if they went like Japanese mythology. I also think that like Russian mythology has some like really interesting and dark stories. I think that those would probably be my 3 guesses.
Yeah. Yeah, I get your point about transitionary, and I'm certain that whatever the next game is would at least in some part near the beginning of the game be a transitionary action. But like, there is a precedent set. There wasn't and still hasn't been given any explanation as to Kratos's going from Greece to the Norse region. I don't want to say Norway.
Roman.
Yeah,
I think that would be really
boring. I'm pretty confident that it's going to be Egyptian.
Really?
Pretty confident. Yeah. Because
just based on the stuff in the game, or?
Well, I mean, there were definitely a lot of Egyptian indications in 2018 and in Valhalla as well. Obviously, I won't spoil that. There were clear allusions to multiple mythologies granted in Valhalla and in Ragnarok base game. But Cory Barlog was going to do Egypt before he decided on the Nordic stuff. So I would imagine like some amount of pre-pro stuff was done, concept art and things like that. And I guarantee that, that doesn't mean anything. They don't mean they have to pick that up. But I think the problem, whilst I would be interested in something like Irish, like you said, or Celtic or something, I do feel like, I'm not saying this is the reality of the situation, but I think optically it might still be a little too close to Nordic mythology.
Right. But I also would argue that like Nordic isn't that far off of Greek mythology. Like these mythologies are pretty close to each other.
Well, I mean, any mythology in a wide lens is relatively close to each other in terms of like godhood and whatnot.
Which is why I think it would be interesting if they moved to like Japanese or even Egyptian would be interesting as well.
Because
like,
I'm
those ones have like a different kind of base.
I guess not only alongside the fact that Cory Barlog was going to do Egypt, so there's clearly like some interest, and certainly obviously he's not working on God of War currently, but the studio is. I think like optically, they had the Greek stuff, which was lots of, you know, white marble and paved slab and stone and massive temples on mountains and stuff. And then they went from that to the cold and the snow and the ice of Nordic. And I think visually, to differentiate itself, they don't not only want to take something that is relatively close in terms of the mythology, like an Irish or a Celtic, as much as I'd love to see it. I think in terms of setting, they want it to look remarkably different. And they've done stuff like Valheim. That was the jungle one. Yeah. So you know what I mean? Like they've done a lot of greenery in Ragnarok already, and in 2018. So I think like, yes, that's correct. Not Valheim. That's something completely different.
It was close.
So I think that's why Egypt in my head is the de facto choice, because you have the sands and the pyramids, and you have gods that could be depicted in a way that we haven't seen thus far in terms of like the half animal incarnations. And alongside that, you have the precedent set of, they always tweak the mythology and mess with things a little bit. I would be very compelled, because the precedent has been set in Ragnarok, again, spoilers for Ragnarok, that Loki imbues the souls of giants into animals. And not saying that there is a direct one-to-one correlation that the Egyptian gods, because they are depicted in animal form, would be a direct response because of what Loki does, or somebody prior to Loki has done, and taken giants from the Norse realm elsewhere to protect them and place them in the Egyptian realm. I don't necessarily know that, but I think that there is something there. Like there are threads that are not necessarily fully formed, but there is potential there to draw that interlinking sinew between stuff. So yeah, I'd be interested. And also Egyptians, more so than a number of other mythologies, are more centered around the afterlife and stuff like that. And I've been on record saying that I think that Kratos dies in the next game.
By the way, just in case, the folklore from Russia is called Slavic mythology. I knew there was another word for it, but I couldn't think of it.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was bugging me.
And again, like I like the idea, but I think that again, not saying that this is my personal perspective, but wide scheme, having more snow and, you know, creepy witchy stuff is veering a little too close to the Norse.
I think it is close, but I think you could also argue that they don't want to go too far away from Ragnarok, or not Ragnarok, Norse. I will say, I wonder if they'll do something like let's just pretend for now that they go with what you're talking about. Like they're like, hey, we're just gonna do like Egyptian next. They kill off Kratos. That's like that's the next step, right? Do you think it's possible that they do like the next game that is just like Atreus running around? Is it possible that they do like a jump from mythology to mythology, like where he visits multiple mythologies because he's just like wandering now because he's a little traveler? I think that'd be kind of fun.
I think that is going to be the point of the next games, regardless. That at the end of Ragnarok, spoilers for Ragnarok, Kratos very clearly realizes and then sets himself on the path to be an adored god and a god that helps people. And the whole endgame premise of Ragnarok is that you and Freya are going around helping the people that you haven't gotten around to yet to rebuild the region, right?
Yeah.
And I think that extrapolates out that whether it's him, Kratos, actively seeking to go to another realm to fix the godhood, to fix the problems himself and be proactive and a positive force,
you think he's
or whether
go
he
be
is
savior?
or whether he is drafted in by somebody from there, forcibly or otherwise, to be that helping hand. I think that is going to be what differentiates the future installments, where yes, there will inherently still be destruction because he is still the God of War, but he is fundamentally doing it from a different perspective, where he's done the fatherly thing of fostering the child up to the point where it can sustain itself with Atreus, and now he kind of has that changed perspective and kind of saved a lot of the Norse realm from probably what more destruction would have been wrought had he not had Atreus with him to sort of reshape his thinking. And I think that is only going to expand in the future. Him truly becoming a force for good, and there is no more gratuitous violence. So yeah, I think it's set on an interesting path. And I also like, just to say, because I didn't talk about it, the Japanese thing, I think that is viable far more, in my opinion, than the Irish or Celtic or Russian, Slavic or whatever. But I do think that in general, we have gotten a lot of that Japanese-centric media.
We have.
With the yokai and all of that stuff. And I feel like in comparison, we haven't gotten really anything in the Egyptian space, which I think is probably another feather in the cap of why they might lean that way. Because then you like, not that they're the same game, but you've got Ghost of Tsushima for the Japan and the color and the culture and everything. Right. And I don't know if they want to tread on toes, even though it's different games and, you know.
I think that it would be wildly different because a lot of the games, it's not to say that it doesn't exist at all, but I think it's a very small very, very small percentage of games that even cover Japan, that actually talk about Japanese mythology. Because, like, yes, yokai is part of, like, Japanese mythology, but there's, like, we haven't really seen, besides, like, maybe Okami, like, at least from what I've experienced, we haven't really seen like actual Japanese mythology, or we're talking like Amaterasu, like we're talking like the actual gods of the mythology and all of that, because there's a lot there. Not to say that I'm arguing with you, but like I do think that like it's much more than yokai and what we've seen and like what's covering Japanese mythology currently.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%, to be clear. I just think optically, in terms of selling the game as something new and exciting, they would have a tougher job proving that they are breaking out of the mold of what people might have already seen in whatever degree in the Japanese space than they would do by just slap bang. Kratos is in a brand new setting, brand new everything.
You know what would be so interesting is doing like Indian or like Hindu mythology.
Yeah,
I think that one would be cool too.
Yeah, and I think like not that I'm generalizing based off of what you said, but just another example of like just Chinese mythology in general would be interesting as well as a choice, because I think that does detach from the Japanese stuff that we have seen with yokai, again, you know, with the yokai and stuff. That in and of itself is a different sector that again hasn't seen much representation, I don't think. So
Same
they have a lot of
Korean
options.
mythology and stuff like that. So
they have a lot of options.
Yeah, they really do. They really, really do. But I think that they'll probably, my guess is that they'll probably stay a little bit more on the Western side.
We shall see. The point that I was going to make, just by asking where you think it's set, to round it back to what we were initially talking about, was imagine what, like, even if I don't think it's happening, but imagine like what a Japanese take on the God of War theme would be.
Oh my God.
With the you know, wind instruments and the
I hope
and stuff.
I hope that they keep Bear McCreary, kind of, because I really like him.
I can't see that they wouldn't, considering how successful he's been.
I mean, if they move away from this kind of music, like, not to say that he can't, because I guarantee he can, but this like kind of music is kind of his forte, like this kind of music. So I think that like moving into like a different mythology that has like wildly different music, they would at least need to have another composer. But
yeah,
I do
still
love
think
Bear
like,
McCreary, and I would love to hear his themes like in another kind of like setting with like different musical instruments and stuff.
yeah, I think
I was kind of being
Bear,
sarcastic with the didgeridoo, but it would be kind of cool.
Bear would certainly be involved. Like, I think he would have not right of first refusal, but essentially that, where they will probably approach him first and say, would you be interested in trying this out? Certainly fielding other composers and bringing other people in to consult if Bear did agree to do it. But I do think that whilst this kind of stuff is Bear's lane primarily, I do think that Bear is the type of person that would like that challenge and would want to make sure that he gets it right, in the same way that he went to get the sort of Nordic choirs and stuff for this content. I think that he would seek the right talent, the right musicians, performers.
Oh,
to
he
make
did
sure
Godzilla.
That, yeah.
Okay, yeah, he'd be fine.
Yeah. Or, if going on my line, imagine what like a Egyptian type theme would be. I think that if we're just talking about music, there's so much exciting future inherently in God of War because of what it is as an IP, that the music is ever changing, and that's exciting, let alone the game itself. So,
yep. Oh my god, I'm looking through like Bear's like all of his like albums and stuff. He's so good. He's done so much cool stuff. He's an incredible composer. So.
Yeah.
Have you listened to his new album, by the way, yet? The Singularity. I haven't listened to it yet. For context,
no, I've seen people talking about it, but I haven't checked it out yet.
Oh, he did a song with somebody called Brendan McCreary. I'm assuming that's like his brother or something.
I would assume so. Yeah.
Interesting. We'll have to listen to that. We'll report back at some unknown time. Well, you guys, I don't think I have much else to say besides like I love Bear McCreary. He's got gorgeous hair. Yeah, that was the important things to take away from that. I did just look it up. It is Bear McCreary's brother.
Good to know.
And the first thing that comes up says totally gay. I'm gay. I love that so much. That makes me so happy. Okay, guys, thank you guys so much for listening and for hanging out with us. You can find us at YouTube at Save the Game Media, Twitter, Save Game Media. Don't forget to check out our Discord, all that fun stuff. You can find Taylor in the Discord. Where can people find you, Sam?
You know where to find me. I'm kidding, of course. You can
I was
find
going to say OnlyFans.
And everywhere at Sam Heaney. What? Excuse me?
OnlyFans. Sam Heaney.
Anywhere and everywhere at Sam Heaney, HEANEY.
Including OnlyFans.
Nope. Not anymore.
Oh, you just deleted it? I didn't even get to check it
now
out.
Now I'm not even going to say that because I don't even know what kind of major.
He's like, I started a Patreon now. You can find me at Fabulous Brianna, FABULAST BREANNA. I hope you guys have a good week. We'll see you next time, and it's going to be even closer to Pride Month, which is very exciting. Okay, bye guys.